mean, he's, of course, I know heavyweight sometimes a different kettle of fish, but as far as I'm concerned, Conor Benn's right up there with the biggest star, not just in British boxing but in world boxing. He's just filled a stadium twice. The story's incredible, and the emergence of him. We know the story coming out of his father's name, and that's the difficult thing to do. And what is remarkable about him and Chris Eubank Jr, to be fair, they're both really tough kids, and boxing is not generally for people that come from that background, but it is when it means something to you, and you've got a passion for it, and you love it, and it's built within you, and that's with Conor. So the future is so exciting. Now we'll go and do the science with Dan and Conor to do it effectively, to get down to that weight, because it's not just making that weight, it's performing at that weight to the best of his ability. But he's going to walk in and people were calling him out after the Chris Eubank loss. Now he's won. I mean, like, with all due respect to Haney, Norman, Rolly Romero, Lewis Crocco, who we represent, this is the star of the 147-pound division. This is the money of the division. That's why everyone's calling him out. So we're going to be just fine. But Conor's right. I didn't agree with all of what he said, because he kind of said, I've got the money now and that's not as important. Sure, come Monday that'll be a different conversation.
Of course it will. But sounded good though, didn't it?
Yeah, I was actually thinking, wow, this sounds good, but then I thought, don't be silly. But the reality is he is right. Now, that you can't, people talk the legacy's world championships, it is. But that was legacy tonight. That was legacy in April. Those scenes, I mean, those drummers up there to Phil Collins, and even Eubank coming out to 50. Where do you see stuff like that? It was unbelievable. But I know that every time he trains in his gym at home, he's got that WBC belt that his dad won up on the wall, and he's looking at that every day and he says, I'm going to get one of them. The Barrios fight's there, the Crocker fight's there, the Haney-Norman fight's there. But like I said, we're in such a wonderful position. We've got a big fan base, we've got a wonderful broadcaster behind us, and like he said, and I want to just say one thing as well. This team of people, you see a lot of them, they're all wearing blue tracksuits in here. Every one of you, what a job, what commitment. Tony Sims, the job that he has done to bring Conor Benn through. You never see Tony going out, doing all these interviews, building his own social media. He's not even an underrated trainer, because everybody in boxing knows what a great trainer is. But honestly, you've worked so hard.
Do you know what though? Like, a lot of trainers get fighters that come on through the GB setup, or they're well established as an amateur. Tony's taken me from a raw novice. Like, from a guy...
You were rawer than raw.
I was terrible. I was terrible. If I told any of you lot we'd be sitting here in this room today, back then you lot would think I'm mad. Every single one of you. So that's credit to Tony as a trainer. He's shaped me and moulded me into the fighter I am now. But not only the fighter I am now, but the mindset I have and the work ethic we put in. He's been like my second dad here. I've left my family in Australia and come here, and when there's a shoulder to lean on, it's Tony. Through and through the worst of it together. And now we're sitting here through hard work and perseverance and diligence to make sure that even through the bad times we see it through together. Because it was a bad time for me and Tony, so it's win is for me and Tony in here today.
And also, I think Tony would agree, when you busted your jaw and you were out for ages, you never left the gym. You were always in the gym, even with a broken jaw, working, obviously not sparring, but you never stopped working. And also, just a shout out to Dan Lawrence or Pedro, also an unbelievable addition to the team. Lee Emptage, you've been unbelievable. You are literally, you do not leave his side.
Go on, Lee.
Unbelievable.
Go on, Lee.
And even through the tough times, you were suffering, and I'm sure you were trying to get paid as well, but it never really happened for you. But you had to wait a long time, but you stuck in there through and through. And two other people as well, I just want to say, Everlast. I think there's a couple of people in here today. When the chips were down and it would have been very easy for them to walk away, they stayed. And as I said to Michael Murray tonight, thank you. That'll always be remembered. And we look forward to the new contract negotiation as well. That was a joke, a little bit of a joke. And also DAZN, who, when it was easy to turn you back, and like everybody else, and go, well, let him get on with his appeal and then we'll deal with it later. They went, no, we're going to back him. And they won tonight as well. So thank you to those people. Look, it's part of him's building the fight, part of him is just something that we're never going to get on with personally, and that's fine. But you have to respect him. He's a very, very tough young man, you know, and he's a very good fighter as well. And I said coming into this fight, I just believe that could be his last fight tonight, and who knows what the future holds. But Conor was right in that, you know, the performance tonight was unbelievable. It didn't matter if Eubank was better tonight, we were still winning the fight. But that first fight, when you go through a fight like that, it can change you forever. But it didn't change Conor Benn, it just made him better. Because he's young, he's hungry, and he's got another 5, 6, 7 years in the game. That's the reality. So, all the respect in the world for him. And look at the 12th round. He was gone. He couldn't, and he kept getting up. He got up twice when he didn't need to get up, and he was determined to get up. So, good luck for him. Good luck in his life, and thank you. You know, thank you, and thank to Senior. We don't have to get on, but look at what they've given us. I mean, not just what they gave us tonight, but what they gave us in April and what they gave us over the last 3 decades. You know, and Nige, you know, like
we
nearly saw the 5th one tonight in the ring before the first bell.
Mate,
you know, remarkable 2 fights. The first fight, obviously different to the second fight, a fight where we needed to stay calm, fight with no emotion, follow the game plan. I thought Conor Benn was just sensational tonight, a mature performance, and just a massive victory, stepping up 2 divisions, fighting a middleweight, and I guess becoming the first Ben to beat a Eubank night. Sorry, mate. And now we move on to do what he hasn't done yet, which you did, which was to win a world title. But before I open to the floor, I just want to say how proud we all are of Conor Benn. It was probably only a year ago, honestly, where you talk about on the floor, this guy was completely finished, mentally, emotionally, financially, and he never stopped fighting. He never stopped training, and he never stopped fighting. And I think, you know, I said earlier in the ring, this event, sponsored by Movember, which is a charity designed to aid men's mental health. We talk about suicide rates and stuff like that. If people knew how down he was and how much trouble he was in all those parts of his life, he should be a true role model, an inspiration to those people to show there's always a way out. He always kept the faith, and he never stopped working, and he kept on believing. And there were times when people said, just jack it in, Con, just, you know. He said, no, I'm not giving up, I'm not going to stop fighting for my name. And he did that out of the ring, and tonight was a culmination of all the hard work of a young man that we saw make his professional debut at the O2, who was all over the place. A guy that honestly I didn't believe would win an area title. He's just filled Tottenham Hotspur Stadium twice. He's secured his family and his children's financial legacy forever. And now we're going to move on and make a true legacy in the sport to win a world title. So I wanted to say we're very proud of Conor Benn and everything he's done. He's an inspiration to people to show you there's always a way back. So well done, Conor Benn.